Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Another day, another tier list. We got to get through all these positions in the LEC and the LCS. Today, we're doing the starting 80 carries for the LEC in the 2021 season. Again, not all these guys are 100% confirmed yet, but we're pretty sure these are going to be the 10 starting 80 carries. It is still crazy to me that Crown Shot does not have a spot because he's definitely top 10 material, obviously, in my opinion. But these are the 10 guys we got, the 10 guys we're rolling with. We're going to be ranking them through the list. And yeah, like I said, these are just going to be my thoughts and opinions, my kind of expected rankings for the 2021 season. Not necessarily what they've done previously, ranking them on anything historically, just in 2021. How do I think these 80 carries are going to rank, and how would I rank them personally? And I want to hear what you guys think as well. At the end of the video, definitely let me know what I got right, what I got wrong. Leave your tier list down below. Don't be a dickhead to me or anybody else, but let us know your thoughts and opinions for sure. Also, before we get in this real quick, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not already, click that subscribe button. It's fast, it's free, it's easy. It helps you guys stay up to date on all the latest content, and I would appreciate it a ton. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it, but here we go. So first up, we have Rekkles. He is making the move over to G2. Obviously, one of the biggest stories of the entire offseason, really in the world for League of Legends. Is absolutely crazy. I think he's an upgrade over Perks. I think he's really going to take G2 to that next level. G2 is already insane with playmaking, just huge carries everywhere, a team that synergizes so well together. And I don't really see any reason why Rekkles won't fit into that. I know some people are like, oh, but Elements, Alliance, you know, this is going to be another super team that fails, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't believe that, because for a couple reasons. One, Rekkles and Mickey are friends. They seem to have some synergy. They seem like they're going to be able to play well together. Also, this G2 team, it's not like they're just a new super team that formed. They're 4 already existing members, just bringing in one player. And yes, it might take Rekkles some time to adapt or switch around or whatever. But G2's had to do this before. When Captain Perk switched, that was an adjustment for them. When Captain Perk switched back, that's another adjustment for them. This team is used to having to make adjustments on the fly, like every other League of Legends team is. And yes, big changes, big moves don't always work out. But I think the best team in Europe and one of the best teams in the world got better this offseason. I think Rekkles has an amazing team to play around. I think he's amazing. I think they're both going to make each other look even better. Rekkles is an easy S tier for me, S++++ tier, whatever you want to call it. Best 80 carry in the LEC in my opinion, and I think he's going to look the best in 2021. Largely in due part to his roster around him as well. He has a great supporting cast. Next up, we have Karzi for Mad Lions. Obviously, Karzi at times has looked like an S tier 80 carry. He's looked like one of the best 80 carries in the league. Some people will say sometimes he gets carried by Kaiser. Some people just say he's a young up and coming beast. He's going to be one of the better LEC 80 carries in the future. Maybe he's going to be the best LEC 80 carry in the future. Mad Lions, again, at times last year looked like one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league, but they were very inconsistent. They were very up and down. Towards the end of the year, they started to slump, headed into playoffs, headed into Worlds, and then obviously at Worlds, where they didn't even make it out of the qualifying stage to make it to the actual World Tournament, which does suck because, you know, there were solid teams from the wildcard regions, and they played against Team Liquid, who wasn't terrible, but a lot of teams with the talent that Mad Lion has and the players, and just coming from the LEC, people would have expected Mad Lion to make it to the main stage at Worlds. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. Karzi didn't look great at times during the slump, but no one on their team really looked that amazing. But I do still think Karzi's good. I think he's going to be good in 2021. But LEC, 80 carry is so stacked. It's such a stacked position. Even though I think he's a beast, I still have to put him in A tier. I think he's still really, really good. He's going to have a good year. But man, it's tough to get in that S tier for 80 carry in the LEC. Next up, we have Jesu. He is the Astralis 80 carry. He's going to be teamed up with Promise Q in the bot lane this split, which should be interesting. If you haven't seen that Astralis roster, go take a look at it. It looks really terrible. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. I think they're going to have one of the worst players in every single position in the league. And this is another thing where, like on G2, all the players make each other look better because they're all so good. I think on Astralis, all the players are going to make each other look worse because they're all so bad. Like, it's tough to stand out on a team, especially as 80 carry with how the meta's been recently. Like, 80 carry is not a very self-sufficient position. If your team's getting team diffed, 80 carry is going to be getting killed over and over and over. It's going to be impossible to farm. It's going to be impossible to do damage. It's going to be impossible to stay alive. So, Jesu, good luck to you, but you're F tier for me right now. Next up, we have Cabe for Misfits. Obviously, he was on TSM last year, so I got to see him play a lot, and I was pretty impressed with him. He wasn't maybe what a lot of people expected. Maybe he wasn't as good as advertised or some TSM fans had hoped, but man, he had some real carry performances. He has some absolute pop-off games, and when he gets his resources, he is insane in team fights. I'm a big fan of Cabe. And Misfits is getting Vander this season, which is going to be such a dynamic duo in the bot lane. I think they're going to be so fun to watch. I think they can be an absolute bright spot for this Misfits team, and I think Cabe is going to have a good year. But again, LEC, AD carry is absolutely stacked. It's tough. I think Cabe is very good. I think he's going to have a good year. But I think that can only get him up to B tier in my opinion. I think potentially if him and Vander really mesh well together and Misfits overperforms a little bit, I could see him in low A tier. I could see him being solid. But I have him B tier, and that is not an insult at all. I am a fan of Cabe. I have him as a B tier AD carry going into 2021. Next up, we have Jesu coming into the LEC from Misfits Premier. He is now on SK. He is going to be paired up with Treats in the bot lane coming over from North America. I think that'll be a very young, interesting, inexperienced bot lane duo, but with a lot of hype and talent and promise. I am really hyped up for both of them. I think Jesu can come in and be a very solid AD carry, and I think Treats is a nice partner to have him paired with in bot lane, but I think they're gonna have some growing pains. Obviously, they just need to develop synergy first, but then they both need to learn how to even just play and perform over the course of a long season in a top league. Obviously, Treats has been a beast in Academy for a long time. Jesu did a really good job in Misfits Premier. He had a great season, and it got them both a spot in the LEC. They are, LEC quality, LEC caliber, but that doesn't mean they're going to come in and dominate right away. It is going to take time. I am excited for this bot lane. I think Treats is going to be very good once he finally gets his footing and kind of gets comfortable and stuff. And I am interested to see how he's going to pair up with Jesu and how it's going to make each of them better, and hopefully they're able to perform. But I think you got to start him out in C tier. I think he has promise. I think he has talent. I think there's hype there. But for me, you got to show it first. You got to actually perform. So we'll see what they're able to do. Next up, we have Upset. Obviously, he is the new main man at Fnatic. This was another crazy story in this offseason. Obviously, Fnatic losing Rekkles. What were they going to do? Were they going to try and go after like Hansama or Patrick? Were they going to get Crown Shot or Upset? Were they going to go after Def? It was insane. It was this crazy whole story where Upset was just kind of left waiting to see what was going to happen. And eventually, he got picked up by Fnatic, which is one of the best things that could have happened for him in his career, in my opinion. He gets to play on a team who has had a lot of international success last couple of years. Obviously, last year, they were up 2-0 on Top Esports. They were one game away from making it to the World Semifinals. And that was with Nemesis not looking very great towards the end of the year throughout Worlds and all that. And now they brought in Niski, who some people see as an upgrade in the mid lane. So if you do see Niski as an upgrade in the mid lane, Upset could potentially be coming into a team that almost made it to the semifinals at Worlds last year, and in some people's eyes is going to be a better team now. Obviously, Upset is probably a little bit of a downgrade from Rekkles. I'm pretty sure everyone would say that, but Upset is still a beast. He is still very good. He is still a very serviceable AD carry, and I'm sure in his own eyes, he's going to be able to replace Rekkles and give Fnatic that same type of huge carry threat. Upset's a beast. He is just so good. He's able to carry those late game fights. He has insane CS. He is just so good. He's so consistent. He has been a beast the last couple of years. I think Fnatic, again, losing Rekkles in an offseason is going to suck. As far as your team on the Rift, your branding, your fan base, all that stuff, Upset is going to come into so much pressure on him. Big shoes to fill. But I think Upset is one of the best guys to do so. He is an S tier AD carry in my opinion. I think he's going to have a big year. Again, he's playing on a great team. He's got Hylissang. It'll be interesting to see how they mesh together. Obviously, playing bot lane with Hylissang is not for the faint of heart. There can be some ints. There can be some crazy games. There can be some crazy plays. But if they're able to learn how to synergize well, I think Upset can come in and be an absolute beast with Fnatic in 2021. I think they can go back to Worlds and have very similar success to what they were able to do last year, as long as Niski can be solid in the mid lane. Next up, we have Hansama on Rogue. Rogue is a team I'm very excited for this year. I think they're going to take a big step. Obviously, last year, Finn was a big weak spot for this team. People had big question marks about him in the playoffs, at Worlds, all that stuff. And now they've got Oduwamne, which I don't think everyone's completely sold on, but I think most people would say Oduwamne is an upgrade over Finn, obviously. But the big thing here is that Rogue lost Vander. Vander's now at Misfits. Rogue has Trimby coming in from their European Regional League team, and that's going to be interesting. People are really hyped up for Trimby. He was a beast with AGO Rogue, and people are excited for him. He's very talented, and again, it's going to be a thing where he's got to come in and prove it. But if you were a rookie coming into the LEC right now, Rogue is one of the best rosters to be on. One, you get to lane with Hansama, who is insane. He's an absolute beast. One of the best AD carries in the entire LEC. And you're playing on Rogue, one of the best teams in the LEC. They have a bunch of veterans who are very, very solid. You get to learn and grow in a great environment. So I'm sure Trimby is going to come in and be successful. And I'm sure Hansama is not going to miss a beat. He's an easy S tier AD carry for me. Europe has 3 absolute monster AD carries in Rekkles, Upset, and Hansama. It is tough for me to decide between Upset and Hansama. I have Upset a little bit ahead of Hansama. But if you had Hansama ahead, or if you know, really these 3 guys in any order, I wouldn't be too mad about. I wouldn't argue with you too much. These 3 guys are absolute class AD carries. Next up, we have Neon for Schalke. Obviously, Neon is a guy we saw last year. He was pretty good. He is a very, very solid AD carry. He has good stats, and Schalke is going to be an interesting team this year. Again, it'll be interesting to see if we get the Schalke meme team that can't win a game, or if we get the Dream Run Schalke. I think the truth is probably somewhere in between. So I don't think Schalke is necessarily as good as their highest highs or as terrible as their lowest lows. I'm sure they're more of a, you know, an even team, maybe the 4th, 5th best team in the LEC, somewhere around there. I think it'll be tough for them to get a world spot again this year. They're going to have to fight for it, just like last year. But Neon played a big part in, obviously, that insane run that they went on. And if he's able to carry that momentum into 2021, he can be very, very solid. It's going to be interesting to watch. Schalke has some changes coming in this year. They have Broken Blade coming into the top lane. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to mesh and synergize with the team. And then Schalke obviously has a new support coming in too, in Limit, who people are very, very hyped up and excited about. But that's another thing where you have 2 new moving pieces coming in. You're not really sure exactly what's going to happen. I'm sure it shouldn't affect Neon too much, but it will take some time to develop his new synergy with his bot lane partner. And again, AD carry, bot lane, very, very tough in the LEC. I have Neon as a B tier. That's not a knock on him. I think he's very, very good. I think he's solid. I think it'll be interesting this year, but I would have him below these 5 guys for sure. Next up, we have Comp. Comp, obviously the AD carry for Vitality. He had an okay year last year. We saw him a little bit. He has decent stats. He has decent performances. Vitality's just this really inconsistent team. This really hard team to like rank and even rate for me. They have a lot of players who are not super, super exciting. And honestly, I'm not super, super excited about Comp either. I mean, like, these are the type of guys that, like, I would have Crown Shot over for sure. Like, I can't believe, you know, a guy like Comp or Jeskla or whoever is in the league and Crown Shot couldn't get a spot. But I think Comp is not terrible. He's just not super, super exciting. Vitality as a whole, again, not super, super exciting. I have him as C tier. I think he's one of the worst AD carries in the LEC. That doesn't mean I think he's terrible, but I'd rather have the other guys. And then finally, we have Patrick. This is somebody I get a ton of comments about, a ton of messages about. LEC fans really love Patrick. They are very, 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 very high on him. But again, when I look at the other LEC AD carries, like, would I rather have Patrick than Hansama, Upset, Rekkles? No. Would I rather have him than Karzi? That's tough for me. It is very close. I guess I would rather have Patrick. It's it's tough for me because I think Karzi and Patrick are both very, very good. But I mean, at that point, you're talking about 4th, 5th best AD carry in the LEC, barely in the top half. So yes, Patrick has been awesome and he has been a beast, but man, LEC AD carries are just so tough. I have him as a solid A tier. Again, I think he's very, very close to Karzi. It's hard for me to rank these 2 guys. But he should have a good year. If he takes another step up, if he continues to develop, he can be an S tier AD carry in the future, but I just don't think he's quite there yet. And I would struggle to say that there's 4 S tier AD carries in the LEC. That would be kind of weird. So I have him as a solid high A tier, mid to high A tier. I think he's good. But I think you guys think he's better than I do. But we'll see who's right going into 2021. But there it is, guys. There is my LEC AD carry tier list for 2021. What I think about every single starting AD carry in the LEC, how they're going to do, where I'm ranking them, what my thoughts and opinions are, and pretty much each team really in the AD, and all the AD carries as well headed into the new season. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below what I get wrong, what I get right, what's your tier list. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay updated on all my latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.